Hello, my name is Vince Cerf. I'm Vice President and Chief Internet Evangelist at Google, but as you can tell from my lapel pin, I'm speaking to you from the 24th century and telling you you need to get your act together because we need the interplanetary internet to be deployed in 2025 so it will be ready for us in the 24th century to support space exploration across the solar system and possibly even beyond. So where are we? We started this project in 1998 at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Very quickly expanded to include other laboratories of the National Air and Space Administration in the U.S., but then very, very rapidly drew in other space agencies, most especially the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, and the Korean Space Agency, who have been collaborating together to further develop and certainly test the bundle protocol suite, which is an instance of what we call delay and disruption tolerant networking. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. What's important right now is to test these protocols at scale, to test them in realistic conditions for reliability, for resilience, for resistance to attack, for interoperability among various implementations. It's time for us to get applications put on top of the basic protocol suite. After all, the protocol doesn't do anything. It carries bundles. But if there isn't anybody who wants to either emit or absorb a bundle, it's a kind of a useless implementation. So we need applications that will stress the system and deliver useful functionality to the astronauts, taikonauts, cosmonauts, and internauts that might be interested in using the bundle protocol suite. So what is most important to me right now, and important at the STINT program, which, by the way, I can't come to, which is why you have this video, is to start focusing on applications and other test environments that will stress the system so that we can satisfy ourselves that we have something that will be reliable and useful to people who are space travelers reliant on this communications capability. The thing that I would like to emphasize most is that we need an ability to test these in realistic conditions. So the interplanetary chapter of the Internet Society, sometimes known as IPN-SIG, the Interplanetary Network Special Interest Group, has a project working group team of some 30 or 40 people who have various implementations of the bundle protocol suite that can be used to test interoperability, for example, and some of the other features that I mentioned earlier. What I am looking for at this point is the deployment of an interplanetary, how should we call this, digital twin, terrestrial network using the bundle protocol suite, but emulating the kinds of delays and disruptions that would be quite normal in a full-up solar system deployment. The idea is to build a terrestrial model that we can use to test the protocols under a variety of different conditions, hopefully under realistic conditions, using realistic applications that parties who are in space might be likely to need. This is the motivation, and I would say the stimulus for getting going on this is at least one stimulus is coming from the Artemis mission, which many of you will know is a significant collaboration among multiple space agencies. The first serious landings will probably happen somewhere in 2027, we hope. And we'd like to have all of these protocols fully ready and operational for use in that mission. Some of you are well aware that there has been significant commercialization, at least here in the U.S. NASA has a commercial lunar program where it is offered to purchase rovers and habitats and communication services and the like. Rather than building it itself, it's turning to the private sector to say, can you build these things so we can buy and use them? So that's an important stimulus for getting the bundle protocol suite into full operational shape. It also introduces some really interesting issues associated with commercialization. If we build a mine on the moon, or if someone builds a mine on the moon, there might be a reasonable question, can I own the property that it's on? And the answer, according to the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, is no. We might have to revisit that, but there's reasonable questions about what it means to commercialize activities in space, whether it's the provision of communications or the provision of systems and facilities to enable the exploration of the moon and possibly commercialization, capture of some of its resources, and return to Earth for various developmental purposes. So these questions about commercialization lead to some important issues. For example, interoperability among providers of communication services is a vital element. We want multiple parties to be able to offer communication across the solar system for the same reason that we've enabled that on Earth. We have many, many providers, tens of thousands of networks that are all interconnected. Of course, they interwork because they use the TCP/IP protocol suite for interoperability. Well, we would like the same thing to be true for the bundle protocol suite. We'd like multiple parties to be able to offer services, to interact with each other. We also have to, I think our way through how dispute resolution will happen, in what jurisdictions will those disputes be resolved. Anytime you have commercialization, you're bound to run into issues from time to time that may require a legal response, but we don't necessarily have a framework yet in which to consider how to organize that response. On the question of property, I think at the very least, even if you can't own the property, you ought to be able to register the fact that you are using a piece of the moon, for instance, or an asteroid for commercial purposes, or maybe for research purposes, so that you can at least say, here I am, and please don't disturb my operation. On the other side, of course, it's very important that the parties who are engaged in space exploration and commercialization need to be able to rely on each other in an emergency. And so part of the framework in which this commercialization happens should include obligations among the various parties to respond in the case of a crisis or an emergency to help others who are in trouble. So I'm sure that you're going to cover a wide range of topics in this STINT event, and I hope that you will at least capture the important points and share them with those of us who are so unfortunate as to not be able to attend. But I am eager to hear the results of this particular meeting, and of course I look forward to seeing many of you on the net.